Hello everybody, and hope you're doing well today. Today I'm going to kind of talk about the books that I thought were probably my favorites of the year from 2019. I read probably, I'm going to say mostly like mystery and probably mystery and urban fantasy, and horror was probably my biggest genres read. I'm not exactly sure. Settle down. I'm not exactly sure how many books I've read. I know it's pretty close to about 140 probably. A lot more than I actually thought I was going to get accomplished. And so I'm really happy about that. And I didn't really have a lot of 5-star reads, but these are probably the ones that I feel like stand out the most throughout the year, and the ones that I really did like. So we'll just go with those. And so I'm going to start out with books that didn't come out in 2019, but I just read in 2019. So with that, I'm going to go with Magic Binds by Ilona Andrews. And I believe this was number 9 in the series. And I really like this one, I think. And I like the whole series. I mean, and I pretty much read the whole series. Me and my friend Buddy read this, and we're working on number 10 right now. And so I'm hoping to have it finished by the end of the year, so I can say I've actually read the whole series this year. But I think this one, it just, it kind of stood out to me as a good one. One, because I just absolutely love the cover of this one. But another is there's a mystery kind of that you get revealed. Like, I've always wondered, who Christopher was, like, does he have any kind, is he anything, like, it's all about, like, there's these shifters and all that stuff. He's a little loony, but I always wondered more about him, and so we get to know more about him in this book, and there's a pretty big battle at the end of this one that I really liked, and so overall, this has just been one of my favorite ones. I've had a couple, but I'm just going to mention this one as one of my favorites from the Kate Daniel series. Then another series that hadn't come out this year, but I've been working on, and that's the Chief Inspector Gamache series by Louise Penny. And my favorite one, I think, so far out of that series has been The Brutal Telling, which I think was number 5. And I like this one a lot because it puts Chief Inspector Gamache into, like, kind of a dilemma because of who might be the killer, and it takes a toll on him, and so it kind of, I don't know, makes him out to be a bit more of, a man, not just this detective, this big detective, but somebody who, has feelings and, who likes these people from Three Pines, and he doesn't want to see any of them be accused of anything. And one of them, is somebody that he really likes, and so he has to try to figure out whether, he is the one that done it or not. And if he did, I mean, it's really hard on him to try to, figure this out. And that was one of the reasons why I really liked this one. And another one that didn't come out in 2019. This one is the first book in a trilogy, and me and my friend, Buddy read the whole trilogy plus the companion novel this year. And so I'm just going to mention the first one, but I absolutely love the whole entire trilogy. Not the companion novel as much, but I did like the whole trilogy, the All Souls trilogy, and since Discovery of Witches is the first book, I thought I'd just put it on here. And I really liked Matthew and Diana, and I liked the adventures and stuff that they went on, and just the whole, I don't know, the whole setting of the whole series, looking for this book of life, and the fact that vampires and witches are not supposed to get together, and so they are going against the, can't think of the word now, but it's, I can't think of the word. But anyway, they're going against what they're not supposed to, because they made like this pact a long time ago, and they're not that witches, demons, and vampires are not supposed to like hook up with each other. But they fall in love, and so it was kind of fun reading about it and how protective Diana is about everybody, and they just become two of my favorite fictional couples. I really like them, and I would love to read more about them, and wish this wasn't just a trilogy. So, but they were a little bit in the companion novel, and I do hope that that the author Deborah Harkness writes more in the more companion novels. Then I hope it has that couple, Matthew and Diana, in it. And sorry if I'm kind of sounding a little rough, but I am either getting some bad allergies or I'm catching a cold. But anyway, and the next one, let's see. So the next one, I feel like I'm like smacking myself for not actually reading this author sooner. I am a big mystery reader, and you would have thought I would have read this author, and I didn't. And so this is my first one from this author, and I absolutely want to read more. And so this would be The Mysterious Affairs of Style by Agatha Christie. It's the first in the Hercule Poirot series, and I absolutely loved it. I kind of thought from seeing some of the shows and how squirrely that Poirot acted, I might not like it, but I absolutely loved it. It was really good. It's not real long, and it was just a great mystery, and I was impressed since this book came out in, I think it was 1921, I think, how much I really enjoyed it, even though it was so old. So this definitely was a favorite for this year. So now we will move to books that came out. Now we'll move to books that came out this year. So I do love a good horror, and I read some pretty decent ones, but I think that I have two here that kind of stood out the most to me, and one is Hunter Shay's Slash, and this one was kind of a different take on a slasher trope, and I think that's why I liked it so much. It had some very unlikable characters that you really wish would die, and it was about a final girl who committed suicide, and her fiance wanted to go to the place where it all happened and to try to figure out what happened, and she had left something there that he thought would explain, exactly why she took her life and why she just couldn't handle it anymore. And while they're there, of course, the wrath, which is what it was that attacked them, has either come back or has always been there. and so they get themselves in quite a bit of trouble. And so it was really good. There was one character that I wish died that didn't die, but overall it was pretty good. And then the other horror that I really enjoyed this year was J.H. Moncrief's Those Who Came Before. And this one was about a Native American folklore, and it happened in a camp, and it was pretty cool. It had the detective was a Native American woman. I think her name was Maria Gray Eyes, but don't hold me to it. It's been a little bit since I read it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fast paced, and it was just an interesting tale, and I really liked it. It did have a bit of gore in it, just like Slasher did too. So if you're not into that, you might not like it, but I really liked it. So next up is one from one of my favorite cozy mystery series, and that would be Fatal Cajun Festival by Ellen Byron. And this one is number 5, I believe. It's either number 5 or I never can remember. I don't know if I wrote it down. Yep, number 5. Ha, alright. So it's number 5, and I love Gopher, the little basset hound. He's so cute. But this one involves the main character's best friend and a music festival that's happening, and the guy who ends up dead, her friend had been seen with getting in an argument with him, so of course she's going to be the main suspect, and so Maggie has to figure out what happened because she can't let this bad thing happen to her friend. She knows she didn't do it. And so it was really good, and I love every one of them in this, so of course this was going to be on my favorites list for this year. And another favorite cozy mystery series that I read this year was the Sophie Kimball mysteries, and so of course the latest one in that will be on this list, Molded for Murder by J.C. Eaton. This is one of my absolute favorite series. It's so funny, and I love Little Streetman there. He is adorable. And this one is about her mother. Sophie's mother is always, she's pretty funny. But she always thinks, it seems like somebody's trying to kill her in each one of these books. But actually in this one, the dead lady had her name and one of the other senior ladies' name in her hands. So she, of course, thinks that that's a hit list and that somebody's after her. And so she's asking Sophie to look into things because she doesn't think the police are going to do as good a job as Sophie. And Sophie works for a private investigation agency, even though she's just the bookkeeper. And so the people that she works with are usually helping out the police and everything. So she gets roped into things all the time. And it's a laugh out loud funny one with the older group in here, the seniors from the it's not like a senior center, but it's like a senior village type thing where they have their own houses. They're not like old and can't get around, but it's a retirement type place, I guess it would be. And so a lot of the ladies and some of the guys, they're pretty funny, and it's just a really great series. And I don't know if I mentioned, but this was number 5, I believe, in that series. I didn't read a whole lot of romance this year, but I did read a couple that I really, really enjoyed, and Puppy Love by Lucy Gilmore was one of them. I believe this was number 1 in I think it's called the Forever Home series, and it is a series about service dogs, and there's only been 2 out in the series. I read both of them this year. The other one was Puppy Christmas, and it was really good too. But I think overall this one's probably my favorite, even though I did really enjoy the other one. This one involves the youngest of the 3 sisters, and she always has been doted upon because she had leukemia when she was younger, and she feels like her sisters just won't ever give her a chance to prove herself and everything. And she's really wanting to prove herself with this one. She's got this cute little Pomeranian puppy, and the guy is a fireman, and there is no chance on this earth that he's going to have a Pomeranian for his service dog because he's got diabetes and he's passed out, and it's bad for him if he's ever at a fire and he passes out. He needs a dog to remind him if his blood sugar is getting low. But he ends up with this Pomeranian named Bubbles. And you know, it was just a sweet and a sexy little romance that I really, really loved. It was a lot of fun, and like I said, Puppy Christmas was just as fun, and it involved I can't remember what kind of dog. It was kind of like a little Shih Tzu type dog, and a big guy there. So I think it's funny because the dogs that they get paired with, like these, you know, hunky men get paired with these cutesy little dogs. So it's kind of fun. Though, in Puppy Christmas, it was his daughter that got the dog, but still, it was like a cutesy little dog. And another favorite historical mystery series that I have is Kate Holloway series, and this is number 3, and this is Death in Kew Gardens, and it was about a Chinese tea, like emporium type thing, or whatever they manufactured it or something. And this Kate meets this Chinese man, and he ends up being accused of this murder, and she doesn't think he done it. Just from meeting him, she doesn't think he done it. So she kind of gets wrapped up into this mystery. She's a cook for an aristocratic family, so she's like the downstairs people. And there's this guy, Daniel, who is a friend, kind of a love interest. She likes him, he likes her, but they don't really, if there was a slow burn romance, it would be this one. And it kind of gets frustrating after a while. But she doesn't fully trust him because she doesn't know exactly what he does for a living. He's very good at playing a gentleman, and he's very good at playing a downstairs person too. And he won't say what he does for a living, but he's always helping the police. And so he can't tell her is the thing. He says he would like to tell her, but he can't. So it's kind of fun trying to guess what he is. I think he's like some kind of spy for the royal family or something, but I don't know. So it's always interesting to see. And they're probably way up there top on one of my favorite couples, even though they're not exactly a couple, but I really like them, and I really like Daniel. He's like one of my favorite fictional men, I guess. So probably my favorite book of this year would be A Dangerous Collaboration. It is number 4 in the Veronica Speedwell historical mystery series, and it has probably another, again, one of my favorite fictional couples, and that kind of couples, I guess. They're slowly making their way into couplehood, maybe. But is Veronica and Stoker. And in this one, Stoker's brother, Tiberius, hires Veronica to kind of pose as his fiancée because he has to go to this thing. I can't remember what it was called, but anyway, he wanted her to go with him to kind of figure out what was going on, and it irritates Stoker to no end. And he actually ends up following them and going with them, even though he wasn't invited. And it was the ending of this one that made it for me. There were several times when I thought I was going to smack both Veronica and Stoker. They were acting so badly, and I just wanted them, because they like each other, and it was just like, just admit it and move on. But, so it was just kind of frustrating, but the end made up for it, and I really, really like this, and I cannot wait. You probably noticed, if you've seen my anticipated reads for 2020, that the newest one, Murderous Relations, is on that list, because I cannot wait to read that one. So this would probably be my number 1. That's all of the books that I deem to be my favorite books of 2019. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the little bell notification if you want to know when I make videos, because I am a bit sporadic about it. And I will see you next time. Bye.